Anytime then? No? All right. You could do that with a band, but there's actually a lot better things you can do with it. The nice thing about these little bands, these little tubies here, is that you can use them a lot like a cable machine. All right, and so, cable machine like this big old thing that we have over here, you can do these presses and rows and all that stuff, off of here. But you could do it at home with one of these and like a doorway. All right, and so I like the ones with little soft handles here because I can actually close it in the doorway. Maybe I'll just demonstrate that real quick here. All right, so I'll come to the doorway right here. This little plastic part goes on the other side of the door. Reach it in there, close the door, and now that's not going to come through, and I can get to work. Now, you want to do this on a doorway that somebody's not going to open while you're exercising. All right, so that's a really good thing, and we're going to do some work, from this point. So if you have a band and you can anchor it up on something like that, if you have something you can loop it around, you could do that too, and you could double up the handles to do some of this work. But we'll start off with a row here, or a warm up. The row is next. Right after that, all right. So we're just getting a little bit of our body warmed up and ready for the exercise. I'll kind of explain a little bit too. We got a disclaimer here, that you're exercising on your own here. I can't see you, so I can't correct you, but I'm going to try to say corrections that hopefully you can utilize to make this better for you. All right, if something's hurting, check with your doctor before you start this thing, but also, get a session with a trainer or something like that to make sure you're doing things really, really, really well. All right, so make sure you get the posture right, and this might not be the best workout for you. Not all workouts are good for all people. All right, so just want to get that out there, make sure we're being wise, but challenging ourselves. The reason we're doing this is because I see videos out there, and I don't think there's enough instruction about the details of how to do each exercise. All right, and so that's one of my biggest pet peeves in the fitness industry in general, is that it's just do exercise, but it's like, no, there's more to it than just do exercise. All right, it's like there's how you're doing it that matters a whole lot. All right, so I'm going to be exercising and talking about the hows, so hopefully you have more information to do these exercises amazingly well to get the full benefits and decreasing the risks. All right, let's throw a little something about me, I guess. Try to throw these. I'm Jeremy. I made these little trophies for. We did youth group. We did like a little plank challenge at the youth group that I volunteer and hang out with, and I was like, they're kind of cool, right? I try to make things out of wood. I'm very amateur at it, but I got one of those saws that you can like carve around things, and it's fun to try. It's fun to try some of those things. So, a little random fact about me. All right? So, and here I am. That guy that made those trophies. All right, step aside. Step to the side here. So our workout here is, we got the one arm press, and then one arm press the other side, one arm row the other side. We're gonna do a pullover with the band. Then we're gonna ditch the band for a moment and do some squats and some squat holds and squats, because the band's not great for legs. All right, but we're gonna integrate legs some in the band step too. Then we're gonna do biceps, triceps, and the band wide walk. All right. So some of those exercises, the band will be anchored to the door. Some of them will be like holding onto it or stepping on parts of it, things like that. So it'll be good. If you're unsure about how to do some of these things, maybe the first round, you're not gonna get as great of a workout, but we're gonna do 3 rounds through this. So by 3rd round, you'll be an old pro. And this video should exist for a while, so you can go back and do it again and make it better the next time. All right, so make sure, as far as video land goes, like, subscribe, comments, sharing it, things like that. It's all good. It gets more people to see some really helpful, information. So I think it's helpful to know more details about exercise. It's very motivating for me when I was learning, some of the biomechanics along with while I was trying to exercise and going, oh, that's why. So I'm going to try to include some of that stuff while we're exercising together here. All right, so let me get my timer set for this 1 minute on each exercise. We're going to fire through these 10 exercises, and then we're going to take a 1 minute rest break. All right, so I've got my band already set, so hopefully you do too. Oh, actually, maybe before I just jump right to that. All right, so And they also have this thing here. So this is you can buy something like this, you know, on Amazon or something like that. It's a little pad that goes on the other side of the door. Just wanna make sure I show this before we get too far. And I can close this in the door, and then I could loop the band through this little handle thingy. And then I could even do my one arm press with like a doubled up band, you know, for that. All right, and then I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna show you this one up high as an option. So I'm gonna close it in like up high. So you can see, you know, that version of the tricep when we get to that one, okay? Pull this band out. I'm gonna try to do it all with one band, just so that may be realistic for what you have in your situation. You don't have like a ton of bands around. I have a ton of bands around. I could use a different band for each exercise, you know, but you may not have that. All right, so let's get ourselves geared up. Ready? All right, I'm gonna open this door, close this back in there. All right, I go or you go, Bobby? All right, so we're taking a lunge position here. All right, I'm stepping out of the way. The farther I step away, the more, you know, the tighter this band gets. So I'm getting low, and I'm gonna press out here. So this is actually pretty easy for me. So I'm gonna come out a little bit more and really put this band to the test there. All right, so I like these bands with a safety sleeve on them because when if they're gonna pop, it's not gonna whip me. It's just gonna break inside of there. I'm gonna feel that the tension's gonna go away, but I'm not gonna get whipped with something and get a bad welt on me, all right? Shoulders away, chest is out, pressing forward. So really puff this chest out as you're doing this, all right? There's a benefit on this one side of work because you can focus on what that arm is doing. Don't let that elbow go behind you too much, all right? It's opening up, it's turning there a little bit. I'm gonna try not to turn my rib cage as much. You don't wanna turn and rotate because that's more of a spine thing. We're trying to keep it across the chest a little bit. Sometimes it can be helpful to take the other arm out to the side as you're doing this. So that's one arm. Spin around here, switch it, grab the other side here, get nice and low, and press out here, other side here, right? Abs are pulled in. One of the things I really like about one arm exercises is that the core is being used while I'm doing this, right? Because the tension's all over here, and my abs are flexing while I'm at this work. And I'm really thinking about right in here, squeezing through the muscle in front here. All right, the muscles run right over to this shoulder in here, and then they squeeze across. You can actually see that muscle kind of build up a little bit there. So it stretches out, and then it squeezes together. All right, and that's what we want to try to get to benefit our arms and shoulders the most, and to really take pressure out of the shoulder joint. That's also why I'm not going to bring the elbow behind me a whole lot. I'm not going way back here and then bouncing it forward. I'm stopping with the elbow more even with my body, and then pressing out. All right, now I'm gonna spin around here. We're just gonna pull. I'm gonna switch hands though, just so I get another feel for this. I'm lunging a little bit while I do this. All right, so I can get some leg action in this. All right, a little bit of leg happening here. Shoulder blades squeezing back, puffing the chest out. Now different bands have different tensions on them, but the general principle is the farther you stretch any of them, the more tension there is. All right, so you don't want too weak of a band if you're a really strong person though, because you're probably gonna pop it too soon. All right, but here on the safety sleeve, I can go a lot farther than this, and it's still gonna be pretty safe. All right, so I can step it back a little more. This sleeve is not fully tight yet, so I've got some more room that I could go on this. So it's a pretty good pull. It's a pretty good distance there. Push that chest out. All right, switch legs, switch hands. Now, should be said, just in case you didn't notice, that it's opposite foot forward here. All right, so I've got my left hand on the band, my right foot is forward. All right, so it's gonna be opposite on all these things. So on the press, it was the same way. All right, so opposite foot of the band is the one that's stepping forward. The reason for that is that's really how our body works. As when I'm walking, the opposite arm and leg move forward at the same time. So when I'm stepping forward, my left foot, my right arm swings forward. All right, so we're just matching up with the way God made us. All right, strengthen our body in the way we're most likely to use it. Keep those shoulders down. As you're doing this, some people will just instantly just start rolling up in here. That's not gonna be great for our neck. All right, so drop those shoulders down as you're doing this. All right, puff that chest out. All right, so we're gonna do the pullover. I'm gonna leave this right there. I can leave it high and it'll still work. All right, but I could move it down lower on the door. I'm gonna keep the tension on here a little bit. All right, I'm gonna lay down in here. Am I hiding? and coming up here. Reaching back and squeezing up. So this is a chance to do a little bit of ab here. And especially as I bring that, those handles right in here, the tension in the abs is pretty good. All right, using both arms just to keep it even there. If you wanted to do something funny, you could do a couple on one side and then a couple on the other. All right? Or if you had that little thing in the door and you had that little splitter, you could have both handles. One handle in each hand doing this exercise too. Maybe in the next set I'll go a little farther out. I think I can probably handle a little bit more challenge on this. All right, good. I'm gonna keep a hand on this just so it doesn't go popping and smack my door and make a dent in it, okay? So I'm gonna let go, let the tension out, then let go of it. I got a squat hold. This one doesn't involve the band. You could bring a band in this, but there's so much upper body stuff in this workout that we'll leave the band alone for a moment. We'll catch a squat hold, we'll catch some squat reps, and our arms are recovered just a little bit for the next couple exercises here, all right? So if we included the band, I think we'd be fatiguing the arms a little bit too much and they wouldn't have enough for the actual arm exercise. So holding low, push the butt back, squeeze the knees out, back is nice and straight. I'm just holding this for the minute, all right? The lower you can go, the better, as long as you have good posture. All right, so the butt is back, the knees are out, the chest is out. This is what makes a good squat. This is what makes the hips stretch, that takes pressure off the knees. If my knees are forward and in, knee pressure, not so good. Stretch those hips out. So now we're gonna go up and down. All right, so squat, hold, and then squat reps. All right, you're gonna do repetitions of it. All right, so that's gonna be, now that's really hard. Oh. Now as you're doing these, maybe you don't go quite as low, because you're controlling for momentum a little bit now. But do challenge it some. All right, so my thighs are getting some burn going here. I'm trying to push my butt back and dig my heels in so I get some groin, glutes, and hamstrings back there too. All right. Ooh, feel a good shaky feeling. I like a good shaky feeling. Oh yeah, that's good. This is good. There's some leg action here. All right, I'm gonna take my band down here. And I got bicep curls. All right, I'm gonna step in here and pull up there. All right, if you have an easier band, you might step in both feet. So now there's more band laying on the ground, and now it's harder. Now if you step in wider, if I just stretch out what's in between my feet, it doesn't do it. But if I step on a little bit more band, that will tighten it up too. Pretty good intensity here. Now this is a pretty hard band. When we get to tricep, if you do the kickback version, where you're standing on it, you might want an easier band for that one. Shoulders down, chest is out. Stick those ribs out in front of you. All right, so one version on tricep is stepping in here and pressing back. I'll show you that one for the first set, maybe the second set I'll show you the other version. All right, pressing back here. The other version involves that little anchor though, so if you don't have it, you can't do it. All right, now this is where an easier band is helpful because this one's a little bit tight for me. So I'm gonna go to one leg, get a little more stretchiness to this band. But elbows bend, elbows straighten. Shoulders are squeezed away from my ears and chest is out. It's a pretty exaggerated posture right here, right? It's like it's unnatural and hard to get to. All right, but this is actually what good posture is. Oftentimes good posture is unnatural and hard to get to. Little pause when your elbows are fully straight. Woo. Sweet. All right, and then we have the band wide walk. All right, so I'm gonna step in here. I'm gonna crisscross these handles. Just get a little bit less between my feet and then stretch it wider. All right, so I got a mount of band that's stretching between my feet and I'm rocking side to side here. All right. This is really getting the hips, the upper glutes here. So this is a pretty fun leg thing right here. A challenging one, very important one. All right. A lot of problems with walking, balance, and even young athletes, don't have very good strength over here, and so their bodies kind of collapse a lot more, which causes a lot more knee problems, and for elderly, a lot more falls. So this is a great exercise. You're basically always trying to have one foot off the ground, all right, and hold it off the ground for a moment there, and stay wide when it's off the ground. All right, good. Whew. All right, we'll take a minute. Take it easy for a second. So if I'm standing here and there's a band pulling between my feet, it's not doing anything for my hips until a foot's off the ground, and then the forces are pulling in. All right, so that's why you always want to have one foot off the ground. Basically, when you're doing it, you're rocking back and forth. Just to get that variety's sake, you could walk forward a little bit, walk back a little bit. You can even do a little bit of a side step. As you're doing that, I do kind of like the tuck up knee one too, big marching one. But no matter what you're doing, it is working those glutes there, right? So we got a little more rest time. We're gonna go back to that press. Go back to that press. I might step out a little farther, and then I'll show you how far this thing can stretch. All right, so get my door closed. Again, pick a door somebody's not gonna open. It's a good idea. Now, when I start, get my arm here, I'm not gonna just whip this around and do this. I'm gonna grab with both hands. I'm gonna bring it forward with both hands. Then I'm gonna take this nice low lunge here. I'm really close to this camera now. Hello. All right, and then you're pushing forward here. All right, maybe we'll go a little more. All right, so I still have a little bit of room left I could go on this. So some of these bands are very, very durable. I could include a link to it if you ask for it. I'll send you where we get ours. Shoulder down, chest is out. Abs in tight. Try not to turn as you do this, but try to open the chest and then squeeze across it. So it goes a little bit wider when you come back, a little bit narrower as you come forward is even a better way to do it. Getting a little lower to get my leg a little more tired. Oh boy. All right, good. Spin around. Both hands. Get in position so I'm not just cranking back through there. All right, and I'm punching. Abs in tight, shoulders down. Again, this is arm, but also core and leg as I drop in here more. And one thing that can happen when people are doing the press is they start to lean forward and push. This is no longer chest, so try to stay upright as you're doing this, even though you're sinking into legs. You'll feel a lot more abs that way too. Trying to get some good challenge. If you get done early, that's fine. You can pause and rest and wait for me. All right, I'm gonna try to stay around the same ballpark here. All right, and switch legs here. Getting nice and low in here, pulling back. Squeezing those shoulder blades together, shoulders away from the ears, so I'm not scrunching up, squeezing down the whole time. You should check when you get that full squeeze, just double check, make sure that you're squeezed back there. All right. So my legs are burning a bit. Abs are working. Upper back is working. This armpit muscle underneath is working. Also the ones between the shoulder blades back in here is getting a good work in there. Other side. Sinking down. Shoulders down, chest is out. Oh yeah. These legs are starting to cook now because it's like 4 minutes in a quasi lunge position, right? Push the chest out, squeeze it back. It's helpful to think almost like you're pushing your chest out first and then you pull a little bit. Don't pull that elbow behind you. That's not the main goal here, right? Oh boy, getting there. A little more. All right, we got the pullover. I'm gonna keep a little more tension on it this time. I'm gonna hit the floor a little bit farther out. All right, and I'm gonna get both hands on there. Just, oh yeah, that's got some good tension. All right, there we go, that feels good. Reaching back. Now this one might be a little bit better if I anchor it lower, because right here there's no tension, but if I anchor lower, there still would be some tension on it. All right, so maybe last set, or next set. Next set is last set. I'll go for that. Go for that change. The lower you lower your legs, the harder it is in the abs too, but make sure you're not arching your back. All right, keep that band just because you probably don't want to dent, you know, whatever it's attached to. All right, so I'm gonna let up the tension and then set it down. All right. Sometimes you've done some partner band work and you definitely want to make that true for your partner. You don't let go of it under tension when it's aiming at your partner. All right, so I'm holding this squat. Chest out, butt out. Sinking low in here. Get some stretch in there, so butt is back, knees are out, chest is out. All right, so good positions there. Now, if weak muscles or tight muscles make me collapse, by choosing to do it right, I'm strengthening that weak spot, all right, and stretching the tight spot. For me, it's almost equivalent to doing physical therapy. Yeah, if we do this exercise in the right position, we're doing some restorative work for our body too. All right, so let's do some reps here. Digging those heels in. Ooh, yeah, oh, feels nice and warm. A little bit shaky. It's burning. All over too, in fact. I've got all around my legs here. Butt is burning, thighs are burning. Keep that butt pushing back. Push those heels in the ground. Keep that chest out. Oh, yeah. Supposed to be a workout. If we don't get near our limit, we don't tell our body to get stronger or to change in any way. Whew. All right, get my band back here. Let's get the band back together. You like that one, Bobby? All right, bicep curls. Bobby made a noise, but it might not have been he liked it. Might have been it was bad. Bad joke. All right, chest out, shoulders down, abs pulled in. If you want to know who Bobby is actually my AI assistant who runs the cameras. He doesn't have real intelligence, it's just artificial. No, I'm just kidding, I'm just kidding. I'm sorry, Bobby. Sorry, Bobby. No, he's a real person. He's a real person. He's an actual person who's gonna throw something at me in a second, probably. We switch places, yeah. And Bobby's out here making a video. He can say stuff about me. All right, so you got that tricep. Stepping in here, chest out, butt out, and pressing back. I'm gonna show you this upper one. I'm gonna feed it through this little strap here. I'm gonna take on this option this time. All right, if I can do it without taking a half hour. All right, so I'm gonna turn the handles a little bit, and I'm gonna press back right in here. So now, I'm just gonna lean forward a little bit, not quite as far as the other way, and I get a slight different angle on the tricep. I kind of like this one a little bit more. All right, so if you have something you can loop that thing around that's up high, that's not gonna fall at you or come down, you know, you could do that, or if you got something handy like this little door anchor. Chest is out, butt is out. Really emphasize that if you're doing the one you're stepping on, all right, because it's so easy to start rounding your back there. All right, we have the hip one here. All right, so we're standing on that band, a wide walk. All right, stepping in, crisscross the handles, and stepping in there. All right, shoulders back, chest is out, abs pulled in. That was a pretty good artificial intelligence joke. I'm pretty proud of myself right now. All right, feet are wide apart. We're marching it up here. Stay wide with it. The wider you stay, the harder it is. So for me, I'm really challenged because if I wasn't, I would go 1 inch wider. Make sure your shoulders aren't popping up. Woo. All right, we got a minute rest. A minute rest, and then we will try that again. All right? We'll get a third round through that. Maybe I'll show you the pullover with the low anchor, but it really doesn't look different, it just feels different when you change that angle of that pull. Same like with this tricep thing over here, the angle was in here. If I stayed upright to do it, and the band was on that angle, it's a little bit different than if I lean forward and match that angle a little bit more. All right, so there's some variations. Most of them will still work you, as long as you have good posture, probably not in a bad way. But some of them will get you more range of motion in that exercise. And that's what I was going for. Because if I stood up straight, went here, it'd be a smaller range of motion than if I was here, and I could really swing it way forward and way back, and get a little bit wider range of motion while I was doing it. All right, one arm press. All right, lock into the door here. All right, pivot out here. Big step, pressing away. All right, so third round. Let's not get sloppy. Push the chest out, pressing into it. Sinking as low as you can handle with those legs, but don't lean into it. Stay upright. As you come back, you push your chest out more as that band goes back, because it's so easy to let that shoulder start popping forward. And then if I press through here, it's a lot. Ooh, that feels bad. All right, chest is out. Yeah, don't do it that way. There's a reason why I tell you these things. All right, chest is out, pressing out. Keep a lot happier body if you do it the right way. And you get the benefit too. All right, spin it and press it. Sinking down, puff the chest out. Abs are in there. Pulling in a little bit while you're doing that. Chest is out really well. I typically, I'm saying that again because even I felt I could push it out better. All right? There's a little more I could do on that, and I would get a little bit more benefit. And if I'm going to spend a minute exercising, I might as well get a little more benefit. If it's too hard, you can always take a step back and continue. All right? So I could retreat back here a step or two and then keep it going. All right, let's go to the row. Sinking down, pulling back. Chest is out. Wrinkle the back of your shirt there. Hopefully you can see mine a little bit there. See, I go. It wrinkles up a little bit, and the front of the shirt's stretching out. The front of the shirt stretches out as I do that. All right. Make sure the head's stacked on pretty good. Mine's doing pretty good right now, but it's so easy for people to start getting into this chin out thing. It is not good. All right, so our chin's pulled back, chest is out. The closer we can get to this almost like soldier-like posture, the more it's enhancing the quality of our position for the rest of the day. All right, switch sides. If you're still having trouble finding the right position for this row, sometimes when people come out, they lose the shoulder, and they come back in, they never get it rolled back again. So you might do is squeeze back here and do half ones. All right, where all you're doing is just pushing the chest out more. And just trying to wrinkle the shoulder blades there, all right? Getting that squeeze between them, all right? Squeeze between the shoulder blades as you're doing this. And that's really the main benefit we can get, is that work across the upper back there, all right? It is valuable because those muscles being weak, you know, it's us slouching all the time, all right? Hold, all right, pull over, all right? Keep the tension on here, coming down. Sweet. Wait, I'm gonna show a low anchor, right? Yeah, let me do it real quick. All right, so low anchor looks about the same, but I could feel more tension through the range of motion because it's no longer anchored up higher. All right, so it might be worth moving lower to do that one. Just a little bit better, yep. It's all a game of inches, so you might as well get the best you can out of it. If your neck gets too tired, you could set it down when you go back and then lift it up on the way up. All right, I'm gonna hold on to it. Get the tension off. You can crawl forward or however you need to get over there. You probably just don't want to let go of it all of a sudden like. All right, holding down. What you could do is if you need to, like if it's harder for you to get down and up, just put your hands on the ground with that band underneath it, and then get down, and then climb up, and then lift off there. You can't hold it off the ground the whole time while you're doing that. Typically, if there's a will, there's a way. If you're looking for an excuse to not do a workout, you can find 100. You actually only need one to stop you. So you can find lots of excuses. But you can also find a lot of solutions too. So just because something's not working right, maybe get with a trainer, you know, and they might be able to find a way. Go, hey, how about try it this way? And you go, oh, that does work. And that happens all the time. Push that butt back, squeeze the knees out. Let's do some reps. Let's get it cooking. Sometimes when you're working out, it feels like maybe like it's like those cartoons. You're like, hey, something smells good. What is that? Oh, it's me cooking. You've seen those, right? Oh boy. Might be the opposite though, because like, ooh, something smells bad. What is it? Oh, it's me. I'm cooking. I actually smell like apple crisp when I sweat. It's a weird thing. No, I'm just kidding. That would be awesome, wouldn't it? Almost there. Almost there. Burn it up. Burn it up. Chest out, butt out. Don't bend your back. Oh. All right, biceps, triceps. All right. Get my band here. All right. Right in here. Oftentimes these are called tubing. I don't use the word that very often. Bands are often usually wider, flatter, stretchy things. So if you're looking for it, you might have to write in tubing. This was the performbetter.com. We got these. We are not sponsored by them or anything, but they're good. Shoulders down, chest is out. All right, I'll do my last set down here with you, because most likely you don't have the upper anchor. All right, chest out, butt out, pressing back. Again, I like the easier band on this one for this, and maybe I'll grab one real quick. I got one over here. All right, so the red one's a little bit easier. I often use red one. I just step on more of the band when I'm doing this. What I find is I just get more consistent tension through the range of motion. Instead of it being like no tension at the bottom and tons of tension at the top, I get more tension throughout that movement when I step on a larger amount of a smaller band. All right. Chest is out, shoulders away from the ears. Should be an upper back workout too, between the shoulder blades. Working pretty good. All right, now we got the wide walk, and we're done. I'm going back to that heavy band because I'm a glutton for punishment. It's great. All right, I'm not a glutton for, it's not punishment, but I also know that if I don't work hard, I don't benefit. Because the harder the workout can be, the more I can benefit. As long as I'm safe, in good posture, I'm looking for big challenge. Big challenge out of this because I'm not about wasting my time. I don't like it. If I'm gonna rest, I'm gonna rest good. If I'm gonna work out, I'm gonna work out good. Turn those toes in a little bit, right, so make sure they're not turning out while you're doing this, and that will work the back of the hip more. If your toes are turning out, it's gonna be front of the hip. We don't need as much strength there. We're already got imbalanced that way. We need more on the backside. All right. Sweetness. 3 rounds. Good deal for us. We got some stretches to do. All right. We're gonna lay down. I'm gonna get my timer set a little differently here. 30 seconds each stretch. We'll start with that knee pull in. All right. Knee pull in, and then the hip stretch, tricep stretch, hamstring, hip flexor, quad, calf, and then chest. All right, we're gonna do 30 seconds on each of these stretches. So for right now, we're pulling that knee in, bottom leg is out straight, feeling that stretch in the hip, kind of the glute area. All right, underneath here, a little bit of where we just exercised. If I cross this knee towards the opposite shoulder a little bit, I'll get a little bit more in that poor muscle we just used. All right, pull that knee in. Oh, yeah. All right, keep that back straight. Your posture matters when you're stretching too. So puff the chest out is a better way to do this one. I'll bring the knee towards opposite shoulder a little bit. Stretch that hip out a little bit. All right, cross the ankle over the knee, reach through the window and around the outside, grab that bottom leg and pull it towards you. Now this foot that's crossed over there, it's good to flex these toes back towards the knee as you're doing the stretch. One of the reasons for that is all the muscles of the shin grab onto that knee and brace it better. And what you'll notice is when you pull those toes back, you're gonna feel a little more tightness in the glute sooner. All right, so any of that rotation that was trying to go to the knee, is now in my hip. Oh, other side. Reach through, grab that bottom leg, pull it towards you. Ooh. Pull that in a little bit. If your arms can bend more, go ahead and do that. You're not stuck with how long your arms are. You're allowed to bend them. All right, you don't have to hold it way out there. You can pull it closer. All right, good. We're gonna stand up. All right, we got the tricep stretch here. All right, reaching over the top. Reaching over, grab it. And stretching it out here. Point that elbow up in the air, abs are in tight. Other side. Oh, you're back. How was your trip? All right, good. Point that elbow up in the air. Ooh, stretching the back of the arm. Some people don't feel the stretch that much. I'm kind of tight here, but like my wife wouldn't feel the stretch as much. She's a lot more flexible in shoulders. Still worth doing, but it's not going to be as big a benefit for you, But maybe someday when you're tight from a workout, then it'll be a factor. So we got hamstring is next, chest out, butt out. Tipping forward, but keep the back straight. That's a common thing we're working on here. Pull the toes back towards you if you want a little extra kick. Turn this back hip towards the front hip as you're doing that. All right, ooh, stick your tailbone out. Ooh, each one of these things, you can get more out of the stretch. All right, our other side. And that's why I became fascinated with exercise because of the details involved with it. All right, I injured myself a bunch of times trying to do sports and things like that. And I had to figure out how to do things better, to take care of my body better, but still work hard. And so I think I've done a pretty good job at that in the last couple decades, of my life. The first, 2.5 decades, I wasn't quite as good with my body. I mean, maybe the first decade, I was only like 0 to 10 years old. I think I was probably okay to it. It wasn't like some sort of exercise machine or something. Climbing trees or something. All right, press that heel back behind, ride my bike. All right, push this hip forward, stretching across the front here. Abs pulled in a little bit. You should feel that stretch in there. Hip position matters a lot on that one, so if you're having trouble finding it, just make sure you're not tipping forward with your hips and your butt's not sticking out behind this one. You are tucking your butt underneath you more, to do this, right? Abs are in tight. Sweet. All right, quad stretch. I'm farther away from the wall, so I'm going to walk over to it. All right, point that knee down, pull that foot towards your butt, push the hips forward. Oh yeah. There's some good work in the quads with that, from that squat hold to the squat reps. So it's a good stretch today. Good stretch today. Other side. Now, not only does stretching, long term, allow you to bend and move better, which is really nice. Short term, a lot of times, it decreases how sore you may be from the workout. And then a little warm up and stretch the next day is really good. So if you're really sore from a workout, it's really not good just to hard stop, rest, the next day. Because all your muscles do is they just tighten up in that position. You want to keep moving and warm them up. Move them around, and so you stay really good and limber and mobile while you're doing all this stuff. All right, calf stretch. Press that heel down, bend that front knee. Sometimes you gotta just look at yourself and go, listen, the farmers would show up the next day and work. All right, they threw hay yesterday, guess what? They might still have to throw some more hay today. All right, so it's just you don't want to give yourself too many excuses. Like you don't have to feel perfect in order to work out. Now, be wise with the workout you do. It's why there's a warm-up, there's why there's stretching, and that's why it's emphasis on posture. If you can't hold good posture, better to pause. All right, press that heel towards the ground, bend that front knee. We switch legs in case you didn't hear that. All right, stretching the other calf here. Tightness in the calves causes a lot of trouble, so make sure you're keeping these suckers loose. 30 seconds on each side is not a ton. All right, so, but it's more than a lot of people do, because a lot of people skip the stretches when they work out, which is a shame, because they're missing some really good stuff. Shoulders down, chest out, and turn away. Now, if we exercise with good posture, with good range of motion, there is some flexibility benefit from strength training. There is a flexibility benefit from strength training, as we do it properly, the correct muscle stretch in the correct ways. All right, so that's why I keep talking about all these little posture points as we're doing this stuff. All right, other side. Shoulders down, chest is out. La, 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 la. La, la. It reminds me of Bugs Bunny or something there. All right, chest is out. Yeah, what's up, Doc? That's a cartoon that they kind of just let drop away because there was like inappropriate stuff sometimes. you don't hear about those Bugs Bunny cartoons as much anymore. All right. So, all right, we're closing up here. Before I let you go, you can leave ahead of time if you want to, but I wanted to share just something helpful that's helpful to me, is, the wisdom from thousands of years ago. All right. And so here's a verse, from the Bible here. It's Galatians 6, 4 and 5. Pay careful attention to your own work, for then you will get the satisfaction of a job well done, and you won't need to compare yourself to someone else, for we are each responsible for our own conduct. All right? So pay careful attention to your own work. So helpful, right? We talk about sometimes, like comparing is despairing. Because sometimes somebody's working in our program, we have classes and stuff like that, and somebody, loses 10 pounds in a month, and somebody else didn't lose that much. And you're like, but just focus on your job. Do your job well. If you're looking over there too much, you're probably not handling your business well. All right, so don't look over there. Don't compare. Don't do some of that. Don't want what somebody else has. Focus on what you have, what you've been given, because that's what you're responsible for. All right, so if you do that, you get the satisfaction, of doing your work well versus comparing to somebody else and going, oh, but they did better. Look they did more. You go, look at what I got accomplished. All right, so focus in on that, and that's a super helpful thing. So this is like, you don't have to be a Christian to get a benefit from what the Bible has to say. I think it's a good idea to be one, but but there is some amazingly helpful, practical stuff in there. I think at the very minimum, maybe you should become aware of what's in that book a little bit too. All right, so let's say a quick prayer. God, thank you for these people that are taking the time, to take care of themselves. That truthfully, as they do that work to take care of themselves, it benefits. The ripple effects are much wider than they even know. For their own health, they don't even know what kind of problems they are avoiding, by doing something healthy, and they may never know. We get to maybe find out in heaven, But there's also the benefit to other people around them that see that person takes time for exercise. Maybe I should take time for exercise. That person is working on their nutrition, and maybe I should work on my nutrition. It's like it can be contagious. So God, help us to continue to step into those behaviors, continue to do that work, and but not look at somebody else and try to achieve what they're achieving. Focus on what we're doing and try to do it better and better and better. So we focus on the progress and not trying to seek some sort of perfect standard. Because you're the only one capable of that, and we're thankful that we have forgiveness through that as well. Help us to have a great weekend, and hopefully I see these people again soon. In the name of your Son, Jesus Christ, amen. Have fun, be safe, God bless.